Right before conference last April, I released a very successful video on this channel where I broke down the status of the 185 temples, at least at that point, that had been announced in the Russell M. Nelson era. So I wanted to do the same thing. Now that he's passed away as well, I probably would have done the video anyway had he not passed away. But I want to break down the 200 temples where their status is for you all so you can see. So I'm going to break this video down into three parts. The first part, I will put up on the screen a list of all the temples. We'll break down where each of them are at. You can already see the graphic here right now. The second part of the video, I will have playing in the background just some music from the Tabernacle Choir on Temple Square, and we'll put a photo of each of the temples where they currently are. So the dedicated temples, you'll be able to see what they look like. Those that are under construction, we have photos of their construction status, and then those that we just have their renderings for, I'll show you the pictures of the renderings. The last part of the video, I'll show you just a map with all the temples pinned around the world, and we'll kind of get fun with some statistics. So stick around to the very end or skip to wherever you want in the video to see, but let's get started. So right now, as you can see with this graphic, 28 temples have been dedicated that he announced. Now, mind you, as a reminder, maybe you know, maybe you don't. I'm assuming most of you know. President Nelson was set apart as prophet and president of the church in April 2018 was his first conference, but January of 2018, he was set apart. Now, since then, so 7.5 years ago, he had announced 200 temples. Now you've got 28 of those 200 are dedicated. 4 have a scheduled dedication, 56 are under construction, 2 temples have groundbreakings, 29 have the site location and renderings, 17 only have a site location, 64 temples announced and in planning. So let's break them down. We can take a look. Now I'm going to show some of these other graphics, but I don't think really you guys want to hear me list 200 cities of where temples are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up on the screen like it is right now. Feel free to pause the video. You can take a look at the temples. I'll just make a couple of notes before I move on. You do have, I put up on the screen when they were dedicated for these 28 temples. So you can see the first temple that was dedicated was Yigo Guam that he had announced. That was May of 22. So pretty quick turnaround on some of these temples and their dedications. Now, the rest of these I want to move through fairly quickly. Scheduled for dedication. Now, you have 4 that President Nelson announced. Technically, in the church, there are 6 temples scheduled for dedication, but that is because the Alabang, Philippines temple and Harare, Zimbabwe temples, both of those are the final 2 temples announced from the Thomas S. Monson era. They are scheduled for dedication, as well as the Elko, Grand Junction, Bahia Blanca, and Burley, Idaho temples. But those 4 are coming from President Nelson's tenure as prophet. Moving on from there, you do have under construction 56 temples. So some of them are very close to being completed. I'll show you page 1 here right now. Like I said, you can pause the video if you need to. But moving on to page 2. Yeah, the ones that are close to completion, it would not shock me if you saw dedication information released within the next couple of months on a handful of these temples. Moving on from there, though, we do have the site renderings for 33 temples. Now, 33 is a different number than what I put at the beginning. The reason that's different is you have renderings for 4 temples that do not have a site location released yet. That's why we have 33 renderings, but not 29. There's only 29 temples that have the site location and rendering announced. It's kind of confusing. Sorry, it's the way it is, but you can read those here, page 1 and moving to page 2. Like I said, pause on page 2 if you'd like. Now, the final thing I'll show up on the screen is temples announced and in various stages of planning. So there are 64 temples. I did put up as well, you can read the dates that they were announced in conference. So the furthest back being, you still have temples from April 2018, April 2020, April 21. Those are earlier in President Nelson's time as a prophet, where we haven't heard any additional information at this point. moving to page 2 and page 3, obviously a lot of them are from more recent conferences, but that's because they're still working out, I'm sure, details and renderings and city approval and whatnot. Here's finally page 3. So you can take a look at that and pause the video, and if you need to, and go back if you want to actually read through all of them. But moving on from here is kind of the fun part of the video. We get to see all the photos of where they're currently at. So hope you enjoy just a slideshow showing photos from each of the temples and enjoy the music.
There is sunshine in my soul today, more glorious and bright than most in any earthly sky. For Jesus is my light. Oh, the sunshine, blessed sunshine, when the peaceful, happy moments roll.
All right. Well, let's take a look at this map. Hopefully you enjoyed being able to see the temples. I thought it was kind of cool, the photos that you could find with the construction. Now, all of those aren't super up to date. Some of them are a couple of months old, but it's the closest that I could get. So, but you're able to at least see where the construction status is for most of those temples. And then you were able to see the renderings for the 33 other temples that have the revealed renderings. But here's the map of the world. These are the 200 pinned locations of the Nelson era temples. So I can show you at the end of the video, I'll show all the temples. But just to get a feel, if you're an old timer to the channel, you've probably seen this map before. Orange is operating, just to kind of give you a key. Green is under construction. Blue is in an announced stage of an announced stage of planning, or maybe if it has a site rendering or location. So there's the United States. Here's Mexico, just to show you. I mean, Guatemala. Like, it just impresses me. I mean, 200 is a lot, but when you start looking around, all of these were announced by President Nelson in the last 7.5 years. Like, look how many are in Peru. Look how many are in Brazil. Like, it's just absolutely incredible. You've got a handful in Argentina and Chile. Look how many have been announced in Africa. Like, the work is growing in Africa. Like, Nigeria has had, what, 6? No, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 announced by President Nelson. Like, Europe's had, holy, like, there's just, so many temples have been announced in the last 7.5 years. Look at the Philippines, how many President Nelson has announced here. So super cool. I do want to give you some fun facts though. Um, by the numbers, look. So by geographic location, and you can see all the pins here on the map. This is the statistics part of the video that I get really excited about. 73 temples President Nelson announced in the United States. In South America, 35 temples. So 35 pins that you're seeing right now. In North America, outside of the US, 25 temples. So that's including the 2 up in Canada, the handful that you're seeing down here in Mexico, all the temples in Guatemala, and out in the Caribbean. You've got 21 that have been announced in Asia, a good chunk, as I kind of showed you, in the Philippines. But I mean, temples for the first time in India, Mongolia, Singapore, Cambodia, Indonesia. It's just, oh my gosh, so awesome. 21 announced in Africa, 13 in Oceania, so including Australia, New Zealand, the islands of the Pacific, and then 12 in Europe, which I already showed Europe a little bit earlier. Now, breaking it down a little bit more, the most that countries received, I already showed you the US had 73 announced by President Nelson. But then you had a tie for second, 14 temples that President Nelson announced in Mexico and in Brazil. Behind that, the Philippines had 10, which you saw the Philippines. Peru had 6. Nigeria had also 6. Argentina had 5. And Guatemala had 4. So there's your top, 10 countries or so. Now, I kind of already mentioned this, but here's a list of countries and territories that received their first temple ever. So countries, territories, and states. So let's go through this. So I don't think I'm going to move around on the map. I'll just kind of put it here on the US, I guess. But American Samoa, Angola, Austria, Belgium, Cambodia, Cape Verde, Guam, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Liberia, Madagascar, Mongolia, Mozambique, New Caledonia, Nicaragua, Norway, Papua New Guinea, Puerto Rico, Republic of the Congo, Russia, Scotland, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Uganda, United Arab Emirates, and Vanuatu. And then looking here at the states that received their first temple was Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, New Jersey, South Dakota, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Now, the crazy thing about Virginia is it received its first in the last 7.5 years, but it also has 4 temples now announced and in various stages of planning. So super, super exciting. So anyway, I just thought that'd be a fun way to kind of end the videos to show that here on a map. Now let me go back through. I can check all of the temples. This is breaking it down by Thomas S. Monson, Gordon B. Hinckley. We'll turn them all back on in the setting and show you this is the entire world. So as I mentioned before, orange being operating, green being under construction, blue some various stages of planning or design. Oh, and you do have purple. Purple is temples under renovation. But just look how full the world is with 382 temples scattered across the entire, every continent and clime it appears to be. Looking here at Europe, that's a lot of color in Europe. I just kind of like the colors. You can see all of the operating temples, temples under construction, renovation in Stockholm, and then all of the new ones that have been announced by President Nelson. Show you Asia. Got a handful in the Philippines. I'll zoom in on the Philippines in particular if anyone wants to see that. Like, it's just incredible. You have a ton out here in the South Pacific as well. These ones I think are so awesome. There's faithful saints. I mean, there's faithful saints everywhere. But the distance between some of these island nations is so far. And I remember reading in Saints like how you'd have saints out here that would just save up money forever, and your closest temple would be like New Zealand, and even that was still just a long time and travel. And I mean, look at even Hawaii, like you've got these island nations now. There's 4 temples in Hawaii. Like making temples more accessible, closer to the membership of the church. The 2 up here in Alaska are kind of fun. But anyway, it's just kind of fun to see the entire world. I will release after conference. I'm going to post another video explaining this, but I'll release this map out here. I shared it last conference, and a lot of you looked at it. It had 28,500 views, so that's kind of cool. But I just want to thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already, I don't know how many of you know about it, but follow me over at Instagram and Facebook, where I post as well. It's the same name as this YouTube channel, The Covenant Path. You can find me there.